Let's go to MHA Paul Lane. He's on line 5. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Pete. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great. What's on your mind today?
Pete, before I get to my subject, I do just want to take 1 second to congratulate all of the recipients of the volunteer awards last night that were I guess distributed by our MP, Seamus O'Regan, the MP for my area. And that was in commemoration of the 100th anniversary of Beaumont Hamel, and it was an opportunity to recognize some very special people in my community and you know, who have made significant contributions over the years to the community. And so I just want to thank Seamus for doing that, applaud the federal government for taking that initiative, and as I said, congratulate the recipients last night. It was great to be there.
Have you got a list there by any chance that you can leave with us just to mention them? Or
yeah, I don't have the list in front of me.
Well, you better not start then, because you might leave someone out.
If I start, I'm afraid I'm going to miss somebody, and I wouldn't want to do that, but there were a number of people there who were former citizens of the year and people involved, you know, with the church, with schools, you know, and with organizations like the Lions Club, the Kinsman Club, and so on. And we had one gentleman there who, you know, basically was recognized, former RNC officer who was recognized for an heroic act that he took a number of years ago that saved a number of lives. So
well, we'll do it next time
for sure. And it was a great time. Pete, I just wanted to, you know, just briefly discuss the budget, and in particular, you know, I guess to reference what I've seen happen, and this is not really surprising to me, and I'm sure to many people. You know, we knew when this budget came down that you know, that it was a tough budget to say the least, and certainly there were a lot of parts of it and decisions that I didn't agree with, which is why I didn't support it, and I spoke out against it, and I've continued to speak out against it. But you know, one of the impacts, you know, like we all knew that certainly the direct impacts that would happen in terms of taxes, all the additional taxes and fees that we would be paying out of the yin-yang for everything, and certainly we, you know, there were some cuts that we were aware of. But one of the things that we're seeing now is which was brought up numerous times in the debate in the House Assembly, was the trickle-down effect. And, you know, these are sort of the hidden things that people might not necessarily think about at the time, but now we're starting to see the effects of them. And one good example was the story, I think you referenced it in your preamble, and that was in Gander, you know, where they've had to lay off firefighters in an effort to save $100,000.
I think they're not going to hire some extra firefighters.
Okay, well, all right. Well, if they're laying them off or not hiring, whatever the case might be, they need firefighters, and they're not going to have them because they need to save $100,000 due to the increased HST to the municipality. And I know at the time when the budget came out, I can recall the city of St. John's saying, I stand to be corrected, but I believe the number was something like $4 million was the impact on the city of St. John's, because you got to realize it's not just the 2% on everything they buy, and the city purchases a whole lot of stuff, but also fuel, like, you know, for their fire trucks and for their plows and for all of their, you know.
Was it $4 million? I can't recall exactly. It seems high to me. I thought maybe you were going to say $1.4 million, but anyway, neither here nor there. A lot of money.
I thought it was $4.
Okay.
You got to really realize that they've got a big budget, and when you think about all the plows and equipment, and then if they've got to pay 2% on everything they purchase, like salt and all the, you know, the equipment they buy and everything else, it doesn't take long for it to add up. But you know, if that number is wrong, I'm not going to stand by the number. I thought that's what they said.
Yeah, I'm not sure at all. So it
was a big number.
We'll go with yours for now. Yeah.
I can remember saying, "Wow, that is a big number."
Yeah.
But the point is that in this case, the municipalities are having to incur all these additional costs. Well, guess what they're going to do? They're either going to make a decision like Corner Brook made in this particular case, this is how they're going to sustain the hit this year. But the other thing that you're going to see happen is they're going to pass it on to us once again, because what will happen is that municipal taxes will go up. And it's not just municipalities, it's no different than, if you look at Newfoundland Power, if you look at the cable company, the telephone company, they all have to operate trucks and vans and equipment to get around. Well, that all takes fuel, and they have to buy, equipment for their workers and safety equipment and new vehicles and all that kind of stuff. That all is going to now be subject to that 2% increase. If you look at companies that are going to be doing paving and doing work like that, whether it be for your own private driveway or for doing road work, they all burn fuel.
Sure, it's the same as everything we buy.
It's a trickle down, right?
Yeah, same as everything we buy directly. It's got the extra 2% and, of course, the extra added cost that is incurred generally from the price increase of living, et cetera. Yeah,
and the 15% on insurance, that's a huge one for any company that actually operates vehicles. Now they're getting hit with 15%. Well, guess what? They're passing it all on to the consumer. So, this was just one example that came up today, but I'm sure there have been more, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more. And as we see the impacts that this is going to have, not just the direct impacts that people are thinking about, but a lot of the other trickle-down effects that are going to be passed on to consumers, and it's not good. Not to mention the impact it's having on the economy in general. I've talked to a lot of people who are involved in in construction and home renovation and maintenance and all this kind of stuff, and this is having a huge impact on those industries as well, because people are simply not spending money, and that's going to kill the economy. So
what I'm still waiting for is a really detailed outline of what somebody thinks they should have done other than what they did. I know that a lot of people say all they did was slap a bunch of taxes on. That doesn't take any leadership or vision, but they had to start to address the situation we found ourselves in. The loaners required some concrete steps to prove that they were, going to proceed responsibly in the future. And you have to come up with alternate ideas, I suppose, if you're going to say the ones they have are unworkable and unacceptable.
Yeah, well, Pete, I think certainly during the budget debate there was an awful lot of issues that were raised by all the opposition parties, and issues that I raised, and issues that the people in the public had raised, like suggestions. I think it was what I heard from people was, quite frankly, it was too much too fast. It's fine to say, we don't take a situation where we had 10 or 12 years or whatever it was of overspending by a previous administration and try to fix it all in 1 or 2 years, and it's no good to try.
Well, that's easy to say, right? But the problem sort of revealed itself very, very quickly. It came on us really, really fast, and of course, we don't have that much of a luxury in terms of starting to address it. If we can't borrow money by satisfying the expectations of the lenders, then what are you supposed to do? You've got to take measures, and I agree that some of the ones that they took are very highly suspect, but you have to have alternate ones, and I didn't hear a lot of that. I heard mostly, don't do that, and don't do that, and you can't do that, but I didn't hear a lot of people saying, do this instead.
Yeah, well, there was an awful lot of things that came up at the consultations and so on, and suggestions that were made by people, and I'm not suggesting, and nobody was suggesting, that we shouldn't have taken action. I'm certainly not saying that. I mean, I think that if they had to say, listen, we can't go through with the 2%, people would not have been upset with that. If they said we had to throw a few cents on gasoline, I think people would have said, okay, that's all you can do. If they said you had to cut back on certain things, people would have understood it. But, it was just so much and everything all at the one time. And there's no point in trying to save the province from financial ruin. And at the same time, you're going to bankrupt everyone who's leaving here or cause them to move away or whatever the case might be. And there's no good to go trying to save money on the one hand with decisions like, Masonic Park comes to mind. You shut that down because you say you're going to save $1 million or whatever, but now we got people on stretchers in the hospital waiting for beds. You got people in beds. So the last time I checked, I think I called you last week, or Paddy, one of you, and there was 30-odd people, I believe, that are tying up acute care beds at way more expensive cost because we have nowhere to put them.
Paul, I do have to go. I gotta
money on full-day kindergarten, which is new money and new spending and additional spending, while we crucify the kids that are already in the system by making their life even tougher. So
that's the best example I can come up with unnecessary expenditure. But anyway, listen, I got to run. I'm well over time here, but I thank you for your call.
Not a problem.
We'll pick it up there next time.
Anytime. And thank you for your time.
Take care.
Okay, bye.